We don't have loyal customers anymore. We have systems that look like loyalty. Most retailers think they've got loyal customers, but are they actually loyal? Are they just responding to a system that you've trained them to use?
No space for dusty shelves, 'cause retail reckoning owns the floor.
I'm Clare Bailey, the Retail Champion, and welcome to Retail Reckoning. This episode, part one of a three-part series, The Loyalty Illusion, we'll dig a bit deeper into that and explore what retailers can actually do about it. Let me start with something that's a little bit uncomfortable, because most retailers do think they've got loyal customers. They look at data, they look at repeat purchases, they look at frequency, they analyse lifetime value. On paper, it all looks quite reassuring. Customers come back, they engage, they use the loyalty scheme. But here's the question I want to put on the table right at the start. Are they actually loyal customers, or are they just responding to a system that you've trained them to use? Because right now across retail, something quite fundamentally has shifted. We have more loyalty schemes than ever before. There's apps, there's points, there's personalised offers. And if you actually look at behaviour, customers are switching more, comparing more, and mixing up where they shop more than ever before. So you've got the same customer, same week, across completely different retailers. So what on earth is it that we call loyalty? And why is it maybe not loyalty at all, just a behaviour that's been engineered? So across this three-part series, we're going to unpack that properly, because in this episode, I want to challenge what loyalty has become. In episode 2, we'll look at the customer, particularly Gen Z, and why they're exposing some of the biggest flaws in how retail still thinks. And in episode 3, we're going to answer the question most businesses are avoiding. If loyalty needs to be engineered, is it actually loyalty at all? Alongside this, there'll be the free Loyalty Illusion mini guide that pulls this into something practical for your business. Link is in the show notes and also below. Right then. So what has loyalty become? It used to be really quite simple. You chose a retailer because I guess you trusted them, you liked the experience, it kind of felt familiar. There was an emotional layer to it. For example, you always went to one particular place because you knew they were reliable, they knew you by name, the product always lived up to expectations, and so on. You didn't need prompting, you didn't need rewarding every time you shopped. You just went back because you wanted to. And now that's not really what loyalty looks like today. There's a process today. Download the app, scan at the till, activate an offer or get a special price. And if you don't, you pay more. Now, I've talked about this at conferences. I really don't like the way that, say, Tesco, Sainsbury's and others have made it that almost if you don't have their so-called loyalty scheme, then you almost have a gun to your head to pay a higher price. Whereas if you've got the loyalty scheme, you pay the price that we've been paying a year or so ago. So it's almost like you're forced to have a card or an app for so-called loyalty. But it doesn't matter whether it's Sainsbury's, Tesco's, Morrison's, Asda, Aldi, Lidl or the corner shop. If you want to pick something up for dinner, you go wherever's nearest or wherever's convenient or wherever might be best value now. And you watch and track offers. So it's not really loyalty, is it? The relationship shifted from I choose you because I know and trust you, you've got a reliable quality, a reliable experience, and it's an atmosphere I feel comfortable in, to I comply because it benefits me. But that's not the same, is it? One is emotional, one is sort of conditional. Like I say, it's like having a gun against your head. It's like being blackmailed. If you don't have a club card, you're going to pay more. If you don't have an X card, you're going to pay more. That doesn't feel particularly encouraging. And we all know that the reason they want us to have the cards is actually to collect data on us all and our shopping behaviours, anonymise it and sell it on to other brands and other agencies. So it's kind of like a bargaining chip. If you take our card and pay less, we can make more money out of selling your data to various other people than we lose by discounting the product. So I think that for really any kind of so-called conditional loyalty is actually not really loyalty at all. Is it really loyalty or just compliance with the process that we know we have to go through to get the best value? And I think that modern loyalty programs are doing the opposite of building loyalty, because if they took those programs away, you then might choose on best value or convenience. So actually, all the retailers who've got these particular programs, whether it's a surprise reward on checkout or whether it's vouchers that spit out the EPOS system when you scan your card, or whether it's a better price, for instance, they're just training behaviour. They're making us compliant to their systems. They're rewarding our participation in the scheme and capturing our data. They're very good at it, though, but it's not pleasant. And they've created a dependency on their systems, but with no real attachment to their brand. And that's, I think, where a lot of businesses get caught out, because dependency disappears the moment something better comes along. If there's a better offer, a better discount, or a more convenient option, suddenly that so-called loyal customer isn't loyal after all. In fact, I often talk again at events about disloyalty and saying I've used to have, back in the day, 5, 6, maybe more of those coffee cards in my wallet. And whichever coffee shop I was walking past at the time, I'd have a quick flick through my loyalty cards and go, okay, I can get a stamp there. And then I would redeem my 6, when you get 6 stamps, you get free coffee or whatever it was. But I had them for Cafe Nero, M&S, Costa, Starbucks. The list was relatively endless. And I say, in the room, I'd say, how many people have got 5 or 6 different loyalty cards or loyalty apps, depending on where you decide to shop today? And probably 95% hands go up. Pret's actually a little bit different, actually. They didn't have the card. What they did have was a policy of allowing the store staff to tell you your coffee's on the house today. And when it happened to me, I was like, oh my goodness, that is so cool. And then what I did do was go on social media and talked about it.
Pret told me my coffee was on the house today.
Which, of course, is beneficial to their brand. And I decided to walk past other coffee shops where I'd got my little paper card to go to Pret, just in case I got lucky again. So that did create an affinity to the brand, and that was quite a clever system. But apart from that, it's disloyalty, because not one of those coffee shops was I particularly choosing, apart from the nearest, and I had a card for all of them. Anyway, moving on. I want to talk about what I see as 2 models of loyalty, and it's playing out really clearly in retail at the moment. There's one model that says, if you don't join the system, you don't get the benefit. And the other model says, engage with us and we'll make it worth your while. Obviously, the first is more transactional and the other is more experiential. The first is driven by kind of necessity, keep your costs down and everything else. The other is driven by engagement. Of course, both are influencing consumer behaviour, but only the second has the potential to build something that lasts beyond the next offer. And this is where the real tension is sitting right now, because most businesses think they're building loyalty when actually they're just building very efficient systems to keep people coming back. So here's a question I'd like to leave you with. If you had a loyalty program, as some of these bigger retailers have, and that loyalty program vanished overnight, would the customers still choose you? Not occasionally, but consistently, as we used to do back in the day before all this loyalty explosion happened. If the answer is no, they wouldn't actually, then you don't have any loyalty. You have a system that obviously works very hard to keep people held in a behavioural place, but not in an emotional place. In the next episode, we're going to take this one step further, because if loyalty's changed, then the obvious next question is, have customers changed as well? And that's probably nowhere more visible or perhaps more misunderstood by middle-aged management and executive leadership than with Gen Z. In the final episode, we'll bring it all together and tackle the big issue about, is loyalty engineered? So what actually builds connection now? If you want to get ahead of those, then you can download the Loyalty Illusion Report. It'll be in the show notes, but it will also be on retailchampion.co.uk/retail-playbooks. It's a free download and it's available to all. So, been Clare Bailey, the Retail Champion. This is Retail Reckoning, and hopefully you'll join me again for episode 2 of this series. Thank you for listening.